Oh, yeah! Welcome to Q19 in beautiful Palm Springs, California, Q Nation. If you are here to collect some inspiration through some collaboration and want to grab some nuggets of knowledge and drop them into your brain basket, welcome to Q19. Make some noise! Oh, this is so fun! Oh, look! That was me! Oh my gosh, did I just do that? Oh, don't tell my wife. OM goodness. Welcome to Q19. This is legit. Ladies and gentlemen, the Q Nation has come together. I love this time of year. We get all the Q tribe together. This is the place where people come to find their people, right? If you're a classroom educator, a hallway administrator, I don't care who you are. If you're here, you have found your people. We are here in the beautiful Palm Desert, right? Get that, right? 5,000 educators all hanging out in the desert. This is legit, right? You put 5,000 educators right in the desert, you know, I'll make one prediction. There is going to be some shenanigans. Some shenanigans are gonna happen out here at Q today. Yes. I'll tell you what, somebody broke Facebook yesterday. I think today we're gonna break the Twitters. Break the Twitters. Q19. Hey, this is super exciting. That's not the right thing, huh? That's the wrong clicker. That's the right clicker. I think I forgot to say, hi, I'm Jon Eick. That's a picture of me right there. I'm your duet moderator. A duet. A little song, a little dance. There'll be no singing. That's not what's happening. I'm your duet moderator for today's keynote, and I'm super excited about it because I've been gigging with Q for a long time. How many people out here are jamming with their affiliate? Hey, Cap Q, are you in the house? How about San Diego Q, are you in the house? Current Q, you in the house? How about Quia Q? Just Eddie? Okay, Eddie, cool, right? How about San Francisco Q? North State Q, you out there? Hey, if you're part of any Q affiliate, can I get a ooh, ooh? That's what I'm talking about. Now, here's the deal. If you're part of an affiliate, great. That means you live somewhere in California or Nevada and you like to jam with other people. If you're hashtag new to Q, don't sweat it. You can sit on the Q buddy bench here at the conference, and somebody from an affiliate's gonna wrap some tentacles around you and drag you back into an affiliate back at home, and you can stay connected to Q all year long. I love this place. Love it. So I'm really excited to do this Q duet because I've been gigging with Q for a long time, and we always have amazing keynotes. You know, the traditional keynote is like some unbelievable, hashtag #EduAwesome educator comes out here, right? Some amazing woman or man, like with a depth of knowledge level like 27, right? And they just open up their brain and they just download like tidal waves of information on the crowd, right? From their lips to your ears, you're like, mind blown. It's like taking a sip of water from a fire hose. By the time you leave to actually go to the conference, you're like, I'm so exhausted. And the conference hasn't even started. Like, these keynotes that we get at Q are unbelievable. But today, we thought we'd do something a little different. Today, we thought we'd do a keynote that's kind of like Q itself. You see, never at Q, when you go to a conference session, never at Q is it gonna be a sit and get, right? It's never gonna be a one-way communication. When you walk into a conference session at Q, you just made the room better. When you walk into a session at Q, you just made the room smarter. It takes you to make a conference session. You know, what I've found over my years of jamming at Q is sometimes it's the session, and sometimes it's the conversation in the hallway. Sometimes I come out of a session, I start jamming with my friends in the hallway, and that's the making connections part. Because we know that learning is social, and so when we can collaborate with our partners, we can innovate. And so today, we're not having one keynote, we're having two amazing educators come up on stage and lay down a duet. so that we can see in real time what the hallway looks like at Q right up here on the conference stage. We have Alice Chen and Martin Cisneros, and they're going to come up on stage and do a duet on the topic of 10 ways to empower students. That's good stuff right there. If you leave here with one, that's good enough, right? Now, how many things can you do tomorrow? You know what I'm saying? 10 ways to empower students. Now, the way it jams is like this. Alice has got 5 ways. Martine has got 5 ways. Alice maybe jumps up and has the first way to show. Alice has 90 seconds to lay down some nuggets about how to empower students. But the thing is, Martine has not seen Alice's slides and doesn't know what Alice is going to talk about. And when Alice is done with her 90 seconds, Martine gets 30 seconds to be like, yes, and +1, hit the heart. That's a like, retweet with a comment. Like, Martine gets 30 seconds to come up here and lay down his rap on what Alice just threw out. So it's super exciting. Alice is gonna lay it down, Martine's gonna pick it up, recycle it, throw it back out, and then it's gonna be his turn. So, without further ado, two of the most amazing people I've ever known, let's welcome to the stage our Q19 Q duetists. Our first one up, give it up for Alice Chen! Welcome to the stage, Alice Chen. How are you doing today?
Wonderful. Thank you for having me here.
I just had some of my friends get together to say hi to you. It's pretty exciting. Hey, Alice Chen, lay it down. Where you from? What do you do? What do you love about what you do? How long you been doing it? What do you got for us?
I'm an English teacher and tech coach from Walnut Valley Unified School District. Thank you. And I've been an educator for over 20 years, and I'm passionate about the power of collaborative learning and helping students achieve beyond their own expectations.
Love it, love it, love it. Ladies and gentlemen, Alice Chen. And now, Alice, are you ready to duet with Martin Cisneros?
Absolutely.
Well, let's get him out here. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Martin Cisneros!
The slide.
Oh, that's right. Oh, my bad. You are so beautiful. Yes, my brother. Let's do this. That was epic. Martin Cisneros, welcome to the stage, brother.
Thank you.
Tell us who you are, what you do, what you love, how long you've been doing it. Just drop some nuggets. What do you got, brother?
My name is Martin Ricardo Cisneros Orozco, Jr. Repeat.
Boom.
Thank you, Junior, I got that part. Ladies and gentlemen, I am an academic technology specialist with the Santa Clara County Office of Education, crouching up to about 30 years in education. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been teaching before the internet was born.
That's a thing right there. Hey, Martin, are you ready to duet with Alice Chen?
Man, I am so ready for this. This is gonna be awesome.
Absolutely. Alice Chen, are you ready to duet with Martin Cisneros?
Absolutely. I know he's got some really great ideas. I'm excited to hear them.
10 ways to empower our students. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take the pose and start the show. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for our duetists in Q19. Let's get the party started. All right. 10 ways to empower students. The first one up, Alice Chen, you've got the stage. Whenever you're ready, you may begin.
All right. How many of you have heard of growth mindset? Okay, wonderful. So Dr. Duet found that how we view learning is actually really important to the success that we have, and that the missing piece of the learning puzzle is called growth mindset. In her studies, she had discovered that people think that intelligence is born and that people can't change their abilities, and that is actually untrue. The myth is that you can't change your intelligence. Learning is easy if you're smart. If you don't know it, you failed. Now, if our students feel this way, then a lot of them won't even try before they get started. In her studies, she discovered that students with a growth mindset really welcome a challenge. When 10-year-olds in a study were presented with problems that were a little too difficult for them, they reacted in many different ways. One group said, "I love a challenge, bring it on." Another group said, "Oh, I don't know about this. I think I failed." So their approach greatly influenced their outcome and how they embrace the learning. So our job as educators is to help students realize that how they view the learning is just as important as what they're able to do, that they don't have to be born Einsteins in order to do a great job.
Nice, Alice Chen blowing it up in 90 seconds. Martin Cisneros, take the clicker and take it away. You have 30 seconds to +1, my brother.
All right, folks. Anybody here teach kindergarten? Woohoo! Kindergarten people. Here's what I can say, right? If I walk into your kindergarten classroom and I ask, who's the genius in this classroom? Wah! Right? 100% of those kids will raise their hands, right? And I'll still have that one kid in the corner that'll say, "Dude, you haven't even seen me tie my shoes yet. You don't know what kind of genius I am," right? But if I ask that same question, let's say in second grade, about 60% of hands go up. If I say the same thing later on in fourth grade, you know what happens in fourth and fifth grade? I get this. This is the kids looking at each other's friends and saying, "Don't you even dare think about raising your hand," right? Because, ladies and gentlemen, we have to change that mindset that we kick out the creativity of our kids, right? We're all very creative from pre all the way to third grade. After that, we start losing them. We need to change our mindset.
Martine, I'm going to drop you right now in 3, 2, 1. The timer up there broken, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my timer right here. Yeah, give it up for Martine right there. Here we go.
All right. Oh.
All right, brother. Hey, if the slide's not going to work, I'll give you a little timer from here. 90 seconds starts. You may begin.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you this. How many of you understand the climate and the culture that you have in your classroom, in your school district, in your site, right? If I was to walk into your site, would I be able to say, you know what, this is a great welcoming place? I see the staff get along with each other. I see the students thriving here. Or do I get a different feel? Because a lot of us are here because we want to enhance all of our students with technology. But I got to tell you something first. We need cultura inside of our classrooms. We need cultura inside of our schools, right? And I tell folks, the reality is that we have created a culture, or we need to create a culture that brings out the best in everyone. Staff, students, parents. Right? Because here's the thing. How many of you are going on one-on-one? Raise your hand if you're going one-on-one, or you have gone to one-on-one already, right? But I'm going to tell you something, right? Like I said, I've been doing this for close to 30 years. So in the 90s, I would get the calls, "Martin, we just purchased a computer lab. We just built a computer lab. Can you come over and train us on this computer lab?" In the 2000s, what was it, Bert? Of course. It was the... Oh, good Lord, okay. It was the whiteboards, right? Remember those wonderful whiteboards? Oh, we put whiteboards in every single classroom. Can you come and train us, right? And then the iPads came along. "Oh, Martin, we just bought 300 iPads. Can you come over and train us how to do this?" The reality is this, ladies and gentlemen, we're not talking to one another. We're not talking to one. We need to build the right climate, because a lot of our students are not going to make any difference if we have technology, but they don't feel well going to your classroom.
Brother, that is time right there. Well done. That timer's broken. Alice Chen, drop some nuggets of knowledge. Follow up.
That was awesome. I completely agree. And the studies show that when students don't have a good relationship with their teachers, they really don't want to learn. That's called the affective filter, right? If their filter is too high, no matter what they're presented with, they won't be able to learn the material. So creating a really warm and inviting environment is absolutely necessary. Some people do it with flexible seating. In our school, my principal does a really good job of trying to celebrate staff by putting up different staff members to be featured on a daily basis. So definitely need to celebrate staff and students.
Right on, right on. Good follow-up on culture. I love me the culture rap. Okay, you guys. The people backstage, I think, are messing with the timer. Jon and Sean, don't touch it. We got it from here. You guys, I'll give you some hand signals on the timer if this thing's not going to work. All right, Alice Chen, take it away with our third riff.
All right, I'd like to talk to you about the importance of feedback. This is our traditional way of teaching, right? Teachers usually start with the instruction, students do the work, and then they get a grade. But what if we did something a little bit more than just that? What if we view feedback as not an end game, but a part of the process? So this is how I like to see real learning. Students make that first attempt with teacher instruction, but teacher gives input and feedback. And then I think that's where the true growth occurs. For example, how many of you give comments on an assignment and expect students to be able to read it? How many of you do you think actually read the comments, right? When I give back, as an English teacher, I've spent hours on comments, but what do they care about more? Do they look at the grade or do they look at the comments? Now I think that if I incorporate the feedback into the part of the teaching process in which students have an opportunity to revise and learn from that feedback before the final grade is recorded, then that's what will empower them. I don't know how much time I have.
I think we're good. You guys still got like 28 seconds. You knock it out.
All right, great.
Or 10 seconds. That's what I meant. 10 seconds. I'm not great with time.
I don't know what happened to the timer. So anyways, feedback empowers students. Please use it with them.
Let's use some feedback. Martine, what do you got on the feedback loop? I think I got this thing running. Let's check it out. You got 30 seconds, my brother.
All right. So Alice, I totally agree about feedback, right? And one of the feedback that we need to get feedback from our parents. We need to get feedback from our students. Because I'm going to tell you a story. When I was a kid, I was in the first grade, and I was the translator for my parents, right? And I still remember sitting there and the teacher saying, oh, Martin, I need you, second grade, Martin, I need you to tell your dad and your mom, because I was the translator, my parents only spoke Spanish.
4 seconds.
Teachers, what?
Yeah, brother.
Oh, wow.
It's real.
Anyway, feedback, yes, because the translator.
Tell us the story, man. Go ahead, tell us the story.
All right, thank you. So here's the thing. Teacher said, Martin, I need you to tell your dad and your mom that you are failing math. And I turned around and looked at my dad, and I said, Dad, Mom, dice la maestra que no voy muy bien en las matemáticas de 4º grado, pero que voy muy bien en las matemáticas de 3º grado. Feedback, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes! Okay, I think we got the timer worked out now. Let's keep an eye on it. Or maybe not. Yes, we do. Here we go. Number 4, Martine, lay it down on engagement.
So, the whole idea about achievement gap. How many of you are trying to close the achievement gap? Raise your hand. How many of you are trying to do it by closing the digital gap? How many of you think that by closing the digital gap, we can eliminate the achievement gap? Yeah, I'm with you. Because here's the thing, right? The thing is that we've been trying so long to close the achievement gap when we're supposed to be focusing on the engagement gap. Are your kids engaged in your classrooms? Doesn't matter what type of technology you have, whether you have the latest Apple, you have the latest Android, that doesn't matter. What matters is, do your teachers have capacity to build the learning experiences that your kids need? And I'm talking about your kids. I'm not talking about the kids next door. I'm not talking about, the district next door. I'm talking about your kids, right? Because what I ended up doing here is I started to think, well, what's the strategy that we have to get our students excited about learning? Because that's where our focus should be. Because if we're just focusing on the achievement gap, we're just focusing on testing. And don't get me wrong, testing is important, but guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Learning is more important.
Yeah, with 8 seconds left on the timer.
Feedback!
Awesome.
Okay, Alice Chen, you got 30 seconds to talk about the engagement gap.
All right. Well, a lot of people think that technology is so engaging, and that's what's going to hook our students, right? They put their kids in front of these devices and think that the learning will occur. Well, this is what I think. Digital divide is not created just by access to technology. It's about how they're taught to learn to use the technology. You can give technology to them, and if they only do the most basic things with it, and they don't tap into their creativity, critical thinking skills, we have lost them.
Okay, Alice, I think I've got the timer fixed, so let me get it rolling. You ready to roll? Take it away.
All right, so multiple choice tests were always very stressful for me as a student. I always felt that there could be more than one right answer. How many of you feel that way sometimes, right? Okay, and I always thought if only I can explain why I chose that answer, why I got that one wrong, then I would be able to show the teacher what I really knew. I feel that not only do I feel this way, I've discovered that other teachers have felt this way. In our district, we offer a certification training through the Google Training Center, and when teachers take that lesson check and they get their answers wrong, they also feel that they want to defend their answer. Sometimes multiple choice tests kind of puts us in a box and our imagination is locked away. I like to argue that if we give our students true, authentic assessment, the ability to create and the ability to express themselves through choice and through the method in which they can show us what they believe in and what they think, that we can really empower them to be these great learners. We don't want them to just answer questions on a test, right? We want them to have the opportunity to lead, to grow, and to be wonderful and important members of the community. Thank you.
Yes, give it up, give it up. Alice Chen, just while there's an extra 2 seconds on the clock, I have been guilty of locking up the imagination in a box, man. And you do that in your classroom and you go, oh no, I did it. That's a perfect slide. Thank you for sharing that. It was for me. All right, Martine, 30 seconds, brother.
What can we say about testing in the old ways? Oh, I got something. ¿Qué onda, old pedagogy? Ahí vienes, te miro. Si me traes worksheets, ahí pareces, te miro. Me paro, te tumbo, no es tu rumbo. Y con el Q-Tang lingo, tal vez te confundo. Translation, hit the SAP box, right? The reality is this: testing is important, but learning is more important. What are we testing for, right? And are we using testing as a punishment, or are we using testing to improve the skill set that our students need for their future? Not for our future. We already know what testing did for us, right? Y'all remember the spelling bee on the side, which you didn't care what was on the spelling bee. All you cared was what number were you, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm 13. Health, H-E-A-L-T-H, health, H-E-L, right? So
brother, you're
testing 3, for a lot
2,
is
1.
Awesome. Okay. The good kind.
You're beautiful. Hey, Martine, let me get this timer set up for your next slide. Right. We are right almost there. Nope, that's not the one. Go forward.
I think we're on a different time clock at Q.
Oh, we are. It's a different time clock. Yeah, we're different. You know,
we're on time.
We get here. We got our own time. All right. Here we go. You got 90 seconds. Hit it, brother.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about equality and let's talk about equity. Oh, yeah. Equality does not work in our schools. Think about it, right? We buy curriculum so we can make sure that everyone has the same curriculum. Let me ask you something. If you go to the doctor, would you want your doctor to treat everybody the same who came in that day for the same thing? No. So why do we do that with our kids? Why do we have the same curriculum for everyone, right? The other thing is, you know, we think about equity. Well, isn't equality and equity the same thing? No, it's not. Because equality means everyone gets the same thing, but not everybody needs the same thing. When we think about equity, is think about what are the needs of your students, right? And think about the needs in your particular base. Here in California, we have 1 in 4 who are foreign born, right? 1 in 4. So I want you to think about that for a moment, because the reality is equity is about understanding differences. I hear many people say, I don't see race, I don't see ethnicity, I don't see class. And to that, I say, well, ladies and gentlemen, let me show you something. these right here, these are my equity lens, right? And when I put on my equity lens, I can see the whole child, because teaching and learning in our schools shouldn't be about just what they need in school. It should also mean about what they need outside of school.
And that is time, my brother. That is time. Give it up for Martin Cisneros. Equity and equality. Okay, Alice Chen, I'm putting 30 seconds up. Let's see if it works.
You have the clicker?
I gave you the clicker, didn't I? Oh, no.
No?
You're hiding the clicker.
All right, Alice, give it up 30 seconds.
Okay. A lot of times we have to remember that there's always a hidden story behind every child, that there's a lot of things that we don't know. For example, when I was growing up, I was those quiet students who did everything right and never got in trouble. But what my teacher did not know was that as immigrant family, I came in without a lot of means. I didn't have what other people had. Lunch was 2 slices of bread, 1 slice of lunch meat, and milk. I looked with longing at other people who had ding-dongs and Twinkies. That was not my life. That was not my upbringing. But if you only looked at me on the outside, I seemed outwardly very successful, but inwardly not.
And that is time for you. Thank you so much. I'll get your timer set up for the 90-second slide. Here we go. Take it away.
All right, Susan Cain came out with this really great book called Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Cannot Stop Talking. What she discovers, or what she actually is an introvert herself, what she says is that introverts listen more than they speak. They like to think before they talk, and they communicate better in writing than in person. Our world really values the extroverts. Okay? We like the bold, the brash, the charismatic personalities. But about 1/3 to half of our population are introverts, and that includes our students. So how can we help our students who do have meaningful things to say? It's not that they don't want to share, it's that they need the time to think it over and the opportunity to share it. And with our world today, with access to technology, we can open a whole new world to our introverts. One of my students, Crystal, was extremely shy, but she was brilliant and nobody knew it. But she started blogging in my classroom and she really shined. And all of a sudden everybody else knew just how wonderful she was. Introverts have changed the world. Rosa Parks, Gandhi, Bill Gates. We also need to give them a chance to shine.
Woo! That was awesome.
I love the fact that we need to start thinking or rethinking about students in different ways. Introverts, extroverts, and everybody in between. I think about when I come to Q, I'm always excited because I always tell people, Q is my Disneyland. Q has been my Disneyland for the past 25 years. Right? When I come to Q, it's like, oh my gosh, there's so-and-so, oh my gosh, look at this, oh my gosh, look at that. But at the end of the day, what I'm thinking is I'm going back to my hotel room and I'm going through all the resources, I'm thinking about all the connections. What I think about is how do these tools build student agency? Because it's going to work for the introverts. It's going to work for the extroverts. It's going to work for your special ed kids. It's going to work for your Latinos and Black kids. It's going to work for everyone. That is what we need to get into.
And that is time, my brother. All right, Martin Cisneros, you got 90 seconds to lay down your next rap.
And then continuing with that is rethinking about all learners, right? Because here's a news flash, ladies and gentlemen. Bilingual kids do not lag behind, right? In fact, they often outperform if they're true bilingual. My bilingual, multilingual people, let me hear some noise. I think about we are in a rut in education because when we look, say for example, at a special ed kid, when we look at someone who's a little different, what we start to think about is we start to think about the deficit model. It's like, oh, they cannot conform to the way I teach. But that's the problem. The problem is the kids shouldn't conform. We should be teaching the way the students learn. We have the technology, right? I want you to think about what you need to teach your students. Teach your students about who they are, about their strengths. Use their strengths in order to overcome whatever it is that they're doing. We all know it. If you have a child, right? If you are a parent, if you have more than one child, you understand this. You understand that you're going to treat your kids differently because they have different strengths. And you focus on those strengths. But guess what? For those of you who are leaders in here, focus on the strengths of your teachers as well. Because what I don't want to see is don't give the hardest job to your brand new teachers, because we need to keep them.
Woo! All right, Alice Chen, take it away.
So with digital tools, our students can really have a voice. Let's think about how they can shine, no matter what kind of learner they are. Google Classroom, Ask a Question feature, every voice could be heard, right? Nearpod, Pear Deck, Flipgrid, it gives students the ability to express themselves in the way that makes the most sense to them.
All right, all right. With 2 seconds left on the clock, we will fast forward. Next slide, Alice Chen, take it away.
All right, how many of you have heard of Jack Ma? Okay, not very many. Guess what? His company, Alibaba, does more business than Amazon, eBay, and Walmart combined. Yes. He has built a really successful business. He is a very well-known and respected leader in the World Economic Forum, and this is what he has to say to us. How are we teaching kids? Are we teaching them only things that they can regurgitate? Are we teaching them only things that are rote memorization? Could we do better than that? Could we take all the knowledge, teach them the knowledge, but add to that knowledge? In 2013, Google did a study, and they discovered that their most successful employees are not the ones who came in with highly skilled technical attributes. As a matter of fact, their most successful employees are people who are a good coach, people who are good communicators and listeners, people who possess insight, people who are empathetic and supportive, critical thinkers, problem solvers, and who can connect complex ideas. These soft skills, it turns out, were just as important, if not more important, than the technical skills they brought to the table. So how can we teach soft skills along with the content to our students so they can be the thinkers of tomorrow?
Nice. Thank you, Alice Chen. Martin Cisneros, 30 seconds to +1.
So I love the whole fact about characters, and I think about soft skills because many of us in this room will not be here if it wasn't for the soft skills that we have improved over time. But something that I do want to think about is, what are we doing in our classroom, right? Because in order to change behavior, you can't do it by lecturing all the time. We got to do, ladies and gentlemen, we have a steampunk coming on board, right? We have AR, we have VR. Hall Davidson, are you here? Hall Davidson, are you here? We have Alan November, right? These are the guys that I used to look up to when I came here about 20 years ago, right? And I think about, we need to show kids about passion and purpose.
You are at time, my brother. Give it up, give it up, get up. Martin, is this your last slide coming up?
Yes, he has one more.
All right, here comes the very last slide. Okay, Martin Cisneros, take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask, how can we use technology to amplify human potential? I want you to think about, turn to your partner. No, we don't have enough time for that. No, so what I want you to think about is is what you're doing in your classroom. How are you giving student voice? Because we talk about, we need these SEL components, right? We need these leadership components, but what are we doing in our classroom? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, the research says that only about 1/3 of our students get to speak in the classroom. 1/3 of our students. So how about the students who have so much to say, but they don't get an opportunity? Yours truly, no te entendía cuando estaba en el primer grado. I didn't understand you when I was in the first grade because I was focusing on the content and I was focusing on the language at the same time. So give me choice, give me voice, allow me to do the instruction with you, allow me to develop the lesson plans with you, allow me to change the way our classroom looks for the introverts, for the extroverts, for the different components that we need in teaching every single day. Ladies and gentlemen, our kids don't have time to wait. Our parents don't have time to wait either. Ladies and gentlemen, you and I don't have time for wait. Brian and Ryan, my boys from Check This Out, like they say, repeat after me. I'm a good educator.
I'm a good educator.
I'm a great educator.
I'm a great educator.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am a creative Uber educator. No, you gotta stand up. You can't be sitting down doing that. Everybody up. Everybody up. Here we go. Do your power stance. Once again, I am a creative Uber educator.
I am a creative Uber educator.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the keynote, and I just gave you voice. You should do the same in your classroom.
Yeah, that is your time right there, brother. Okay, Alice Chen, bring it home. What do you got on student voice?
One thing that I love about cultivating student voice, one method, is through the Passion Project. A lot of people know this as Genius Hour or 20% time. And in my classroom, my students have to create a project, and they can decide between champion a cause, create a real product, create a real service, or design their own learning paths. And it could look vastly different. For example, the EL student can decide to pursue and improve her grammar. Another student who wanted to raise funds for Alzheimer's because he had a parent with Alzheimer's. These are the different things that students could do when they design their own learning paths.
Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up these amazing duetists. Martine already got you on your feet, but we're going to get you on your feet one more time because we're going to take the cue duet pose. And when we count to 3, Martine's going to swing this crazy 360 cam and try not to hit us in the face. And we're going to take a picture of ourselves and all of you and post it out to the Twitters so we can break the Twitters this weekend at Q19. When I count to 3, you jump up and scream and make some noise. Have a great time at Q19. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a fantastic Q. You want a mic?